Hey, and welcome back to Studio 6 for the advanced build of the Card Guard. This build has a whopping 98 pieces to it and is the largest model I've ever attempted to do a vid on. Because of that, there is a 5-page materials list, and I could have crammed it all on one page, but for legibility and comprehension, I have broken it up into 5 pages by body part to hopefully make it a little easier for everyone, myself included. And as always, you can find this materials list on my Twitter feed. All right, please like and subscribe, and let's get started. We're going to start with a small floor of elm. I'm going to turn the grain the way I like. And this is still based on a 3-unit grid system. I've just doubled it, so it's 2, 2, and 2 instead of 1, 1, 1. Now we'll get a small floor of walnut. And this is going to be based on my gorilla model that I've done. Hopefully I'll have a vid for that in the future. And we'll take another small floor of walnut, and we'll get these legs finished off. And then a 1x2 wedge, which promptly poofed. So I will grab another one, and we'll continue on. All right. It's kind of a stylized build. It is a card, after all. And there's our feet. And then we'll get a 2x8 wall of white birch. And you can just put that right on top of the first leg. And we'll mirror that on the other side. And do the same in the back. And that will give us our thickness. Now I've been trying to do a version of this card guard for 3 years or more. I've done at least 2 versions based on our avatar height Roblox. Too small. Just would not work. We're going to go ahead and add some small floors of white birch in here at the top and bottom, and we'll do the same on the back side. So luckily, I think, now that I've developed the gorilla, we're just going to make this a real big, thuggy card guard. He's going to be pretty menacing. It's a nice art piece with legs. And now we're going to fill in the suit with the middle. And we're pretty much going to do a reverse diamond. You can try a heart. You can actually, this is going to be an ace. But I've done 2s and 3s before. I think you could probably go as high as a 6. And these are all 1x2 wedges here to get that diamond shape. You certainly have to make it smaller. Unfortunately, since there's very limited black in the game, it'd be very hard to do clubs or spades. Now we're going to take these small tiles and we're going to put them in the back, flush against those 1x2s, like so. And then we flip around, we get a nice diamond recess. Gives it a nice 3D look. And because of the way the tiles work, we can go around to the back, and these wedges will sit flush in the red tiles. Luckily they're 4 deep. It takes 4 tiles to make 1 unit, 5 depending on how they sit. So by putting in these wedges, it will cover up any glitching that's going on in the middle. So we get a nice smooth diamond all the way around. Okay, start building the rest of the body here. Again, on the original gorilla build, I did try to conform to realistic proportions. This is a fantasy build of a playing card, so I've decided to take a few liberties and make certain aspects a little more angular and linear. So we took our 2x4 walnut wood, put it up for the arm, Added a couple 1x2 wedges underneath, and now we're going to add a couple tiny floors to flush out the middle. And then we'll come back in with some 1x2 wedges to kind of give us that gorilla arm shape. All right, we'll close that off. And then we'll grab a couple more tiny floors to even that out. There we go. All right, seems quite long, but when it sticks out from the card, it comes across a little shorter. Grab a small floor of elm. Trying to kind of line the green up the way I like down here, and I still got it wrong for me, because this model it actually gets pretty tall, so it's going to be hard to reach the upper parts at times. Then we'll take a couple tiny floors and we'll articulate some fingers. This is still a fairly new model for me, and I'm just really starting to explore what I can do with it, especially with these thumbs that you get. I have tried some fingers. They kind of work. I'll have to play with that more in the future. All right, now we're going to take a small floor of walnut, put it flush on the other side. Grab one more, we'll turn it sideways. And now we'll fill that in with our last two 1x2 wedges. Of course, one poofed on me, so we'll have to sub one in for that. There we go. So now we'll have the arm come back into the hand. And I'll slide over to the pegboard O pieces and grab another replacement. And we'll just stick that in there. All right. Another small floor of elm. Seated in, not on the wedges. There we go. And then a couple tiny floors to articulate those fingers. There we are. And then one 1x1 wedge for the thumb. Just kind of nice. Do a little bit more articulation. That actually looks like he's holding something. Okay. Now comes the face and head. And we'll take this 1x1 wedge of walnut and we'll line it up with a side of the diamond. We know the diamond is 2 units wide. So we'll do 1, 2. And we'll grab a 2x4. Turn it long ways and stack it on top of the chin. And I know that looks really huge, but we'll get the proportions down here with more pieces. Grab a 1x3, flip it around and put it in the back. And we'll start the neck of this gorilla. There's another one. And then let's fill in that gap with a small floor. There we are. Slide it right in. Okay. And we'll finish off the top of that head with a 1x1 wedge. There we are. And one more to close it in. Now he's got a hole through his head, and you can certainly add in 2 tiny floors if that makes it easier for you, and that will put it up to 100 pieces. But I'm just laying the tiles of walnut right on top of that gap. It kind of shows you where the ears go. All right, they're in. Let's top those with our standard tiny tiles of elm. There we go. That looks better. I know it's hard sometimes to tell from the vids what the perspective looks like. It still looks like a huge model, and it is. It is a big model. It looms. But think how good it'll look behind the Queen of Hearts. I'm not sure you want to make more than 2 of these. All right, we'll take a 1x1 wedge of elm, and we'll start the bottom of the jaw. Side by side. continue going up his face. Now the kind of trick here to this gorilla face is these two small tiles of elm. After the jaw, we'll lay him in, if I can get it vertical. There we go. We'll lay the one in there, and then we'll take a second one and make it 2 tiles deep. There we go. Nice thickness. And then we'll grab a white tiny tile. This will be where his eyes go. And we'll use this as the background. Alright, a little more in proportion. And then we'll finish off the top of his head with his cranial ridge, and we'll have it come back down. There we go, 1, 2. And then we'll grab a tiny floor of elm. That will pop right in through those tiles. Visually, it won't make much of a difference, but you can do a variation where you can open the mouth, and those 2 tiles that we laid down let you do that. But for this one, we're just going to go with the standard gorilla muzzle. And then this is where it comes into play with these 2 1x1 wedges. Those tiles kind of flatten out that angle and give them a nice nasal ridge. All right, I've gone ahead and set up blueprints of posts to give myself a nice outline to work off of. I've left a nice crisp card and then left both corners open, and I've done the same thing here in the back. So we're going to start our wire work. And again, this is another aspect of this model that makes it advanced, between the pieces to glitching and now the wire work. So I've sped up various parts of the video, but I've slowed it down here to regular speed, or very close, so that we can concentrate on doing our wire work. So I like to start in the bottom left-hand corner, pull it up to the top, and try to cover up all the white of the card. And even if you get a little bit of shadow in your pull line, if you try to make it at least uniform, it should come out nice and smooth. All right, we'll try to get a head-on perspective here. Perspective really messes with you when you try to do wire work. All right, it looks good, if a little off, but both shadows on both sides of the neck look like they're the same. Then we'll pull it down, covering the white, got a nice solid shadow line, and then try to tuck it in to the corner again, and be very careful not to have it go up on the other wire. Yeah, we get a little knot down in the corner, but that's the best place for it. Otherwise, we get a nice crisp line all around the card. All right, we'll grab another wire, and we're going to do our A for the ace. Just going to start here, go up to the middle of that post blueprint, and come back down and try to end it about the same spot. That looks pretty good, like that. All right, let's do it again. And of course, this time the card is upside down, so we're going to do a V. We'll come down a little bit, stick it, go to the middle of that post, and then back up. I think that's a little close to the edge. Well, no, it looks pretty good. All right, come back over here. We'll do the same thing again. Bottom left-hand corner. Of course, the back side is going to be just like the front, but it will be reversed when you view the 2 of them together. All right, the same deal. Up, hide the white. Hit that corner. Of course, we have no face on this side, so it makes it a little easier to pull it across cleanly. Stick it in the corner, and then back down. Okay, shadow looks good. And then we'll tuck it back into the corner. All right. And there we go. That looks good. Okay, let's do the A's on this side now. All right, grab it right there. Okay, we'll start low. Aim for the middle of that post. There we go. And come back down. That looks a little close to the edge though. And not very similar. So let's take another run at it. Up and down. That looks better. Yep, I'm happy with that. Okay. One more A. This one's a V. Middle of the post. Let's see how that looks. That's a little close to the edge. Just making them too big right now. Well, don't get frustrated or discouraged. Wire work is definitely tricky. Okay, there we go. That looks good. Now let's go ahead and delete out these blueprints and see what we're left with. All right, that looks pretty good to me. Crisp lines, looks like a playing card. Yes, the trim definitely makes a difference. If you choose to make this model, I think it will be a real conversation starter on your base. I think it's really hard to ignore. And I'd definitely like to see pictures if you do this model. Post it on my Twitter feed, or let me know in the comments how easy or hard it was to make. We'll take our last regular wire, and for the gorilla face, I've kind of come up with a stylized way to do the eyes. We'll start angle it in a little bit at the top, come down about the middle of the two tiles, and then try to mirror it on the other side. That one's slightly off, but close enough. It's okay if you're gorilla. Doing a little side eye. All right, we'll come back down, angle it out a little bit, and stick it right there on that tile ridge. And it just kind of defines and hints at the eyes. And, it's definitely the look I've gone with, and I like it. Okay, so now we've got big hulking gorilla. You know what a big hulking gorilla needs? Cute little hat. That will kind of take it back down to the comical level. There we go. Not going to do a fez, but we'll do something funny. Maybe with plumes on it. All right, it's a 1x2 wedge of lava. Go on the back of those tiny floors of gold. We'll do 2 of those, and that gives a nice silhouette. And then we'll take 1x1 wedges of gold and kind of angle them in for the brim of that funny little hat. Mirror this one in. There we go. Yeah. Still big, but not quite as menacing. Now we need to jazz them up a little bit. We're going to take these 1x2 wedges of lava, and we're going to kind of do some shoulder pads for him. Luckily, I spaced it out this way so that we could do a diamond motif, and it looks somewhat right and fits the arms on both sides. Again, nothing wrong with overdoing a motif in this case. There we go. That looks good. Gives a splash of color. Break up the white and the walnut. And then we'll do it again on the other side. I actually did this model first of the set. Again, I've tried to make this card guard for a long time. And once I got him nailed down, or this gorilla in fact, what came next? I think it was the Hatter, and then the rabbit, then Alice, and the Queen of Hearts. Okay, we're going to do a staff here, and I've taken 2x8 blueprints and kind of given myself a 1-unit gap down below where his thumb meets the hand. And then I put a post BP up top. And then we'll take this tiny tile of gold, flip the grain down here because now it is definitely getting challenging to fix any mistakes up top. All right, we'll plant that. Go right on top. And then we'll grab the other one. And this will be the base of the staff. We're going to have to flip that around. There we go. It sits right. Okay, then we're going to make some adjustments here so we can do the actual staff itself. But let's go ahead and get the topper, which of course is going to be a diamond. Because again, diamond motif. Don't think we're overdoing it, but this is a big piece, so you can kind of go over the top. All right, this is going to be 4 1x2 wedges. Pretty much the same shape we've used throughout. You can certainly top that with a heart if you're going to do hearts. Works out a lot better. And then we'll get our last piece. There we go. A diamond staff. It does look kind of pointy. Now I've gone back and I've set up 2 post blueprints in the back of the hand behind that gap where the thumb meets. And because this model is so big, a regular wire won't do, so we're going to need a neon. So we're going to angle up and try to get the middle where those 2 tiny tiles meet, and also in the middle side to side. That looks pretty good. We're going to bring it down through the gap. You could space it out correctly. I'm just going to shoot for the corner. Make sure it sits all the way on the corner. And then we're going to plant it, and it's leaning forward a little bit, which is fine. You know, it's the little things like this that look off that actually make it look more natural. So I'm fine with that. Okay, looks pretty good. Let's go ahead and make sure we carefully delete the blueprints and not the wire we just put in. Okay, there he is. Our card guard. Big, menacing, and definitely will bring some presence to your base. I hope you enjoyed making this model. And now the big question is, what do you do after this? Well, I know what I had to do is mess around with the hand some more. So I took off those 2 tiny floors that I had and decided to do 1x1 wedges and turn the thumb around. And that makes them a little more pointy instead of doing a fist bump. What's up, bro? This is more like you. Why do you need to see the queen? Okay. And now I've got that big model. I've got to stick it somewhere. And I've got some big columns up here on my primate promenade. And there it is. And he looks big. And you can see him from really far away. What about the rest of the characters in this set? I wonder what you do with them.